People have their own scent, natural scent aroma that's specific. And then you go into their homes and you can tell that. It might be just from cooking or other things, but we emit pheromones all the time. And, depending on how often you wash, your clothes. I think a lot of people don't wash their bedding as often as they probably should. And that can contribute to a lot of odor. So really it's about being on top of your cleaning regime. And also with deodorant, one thing I learned when I started to make deodorants is that I wanted to add the clay. I learned about detoxing your armpits with different methods, like adding clays like bentonite clay and diatomaceous earth because this underneath your armpit, there are tons of nodes of lymph nodes. And there's sections in the body where the lymph node concentration is higher, and also the nerves. So there's a lot running under your armpits, glands, and they can accumulate a lot of the waste because the lymph is part of that cleanup crew. It has to grab it and engulf it and then bring it to the right systems to be removed. And it can sit in those tissues. And so people's underarms have a lot of pheromone release, obviously there, scent glands there, but also releases of waste can come through the sweat. We know that it comes out of the sweat. And over time, that can be built up. And so people want to mask it because they don't want to smell bad. So I don't think people are spraying it just because they want to either become someone else or fool someone necessarily. I think they're probably very self-aware and they don't want to offend somebody else, and they would rather mask it so that they're not judged, for smelling a certain bad way, right? And which I totally understand it. I don't want to smell gross either. And you can't really smell your own self that well, right? Too much. And that's why we ask, like, hey, do I smell? That what people will ask you, because you can't always smell your own scent, or even maybe you like your own scent, but other people don't. So there's that. But one thing when I started making the deodorant with the clays is that people would come to me saying they started using it and they started to stink like crazy. And what I realized, it was detoxing them through that system out and coming out through their pores. And so what I said is to continue to use it and continue to drain and drain and allow for that to finish. And then at some point in time, you won't smell at all. And this happened again and again where people like, I have no odor anymore. I don't even hardly like profusely sweat like I used to, which antiperspirants should never be used. You should never stop your own sweat. We're talking about a deodorant, which is deodorizing the idea of, but not masking or stopping or tightening the skin so you don't sweat. That's not a good idea. You have to allow that. It's okay to sweat. We can give you permission for that, But so I actually changed my formula because I just thought maybe I should back it down a little bit. So I put a little less clay in, and I actually added probiotics into the formula now, which helps again to keep the pH of the skin proper, because a lot of deodorants, natural deodorants, will have baking soda in it. And I never really liked baking soda in deodorants because it's the high pH, and you actually have an acid mantle, and you don't want to have an alkaline pH on the skin. You want to keep your acid mantle at the correct pH. And plus, some people found it very irritating. So once I figured out the design, now people say they'll get a little bit of that release over time, so it's not so overwhelming, so they can function. They don't stink for like 2 weeks, as they're saying. So I perfected it where you still get the detox, but you don't get the full on, detox release. And I like smelling good. I like to smell. To me, it's pleasure. We seek that. We seek the goodness in life. And I love smells and scents and things that are natural. Like I burn a lot of smudge. I burn a lot of natural hand rolled incense. I love incense. I have diffusers for essential oils that I really enjoy. I have it in my creams and lotions, and it's very subtle. I don't put tons and tons in. So it's only really for you and your experience. And so, it's a positive effect on the mind, and not just where you come into a room with a cloud